course, big news of the week, MetaQuest Gaming Showcase dropped yesterday, bringing us announcements of a bunch of huge upcoming games. Attack on Titan VR, Stranger Things, Ghostbusters. We did a full video showing off all the trailers, so I'll leave a link up here in case you haven't caught that already. For all of you who like giveaways out there, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners has paired up with VRCover, and they are giving away 500 sets of these limited edition blood red VRCover facial interfaces they made. This, of course, is to celebrate that right now The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners game series, both 1 and 2, are on sale across all platforms. Both of these games are really popular due to their story that actually is tailored to the way you play the game and the choices you make, unique physics mechanics that they have with the weight of weapons, the way you fight off zombies, and of course it's the Walking Dead series. It hasn't been on sale much, so if you've been thinking about pulling the trigger for a while, this might be the time to do it. But if you want to find the game or get entered in that giveaway for those 500 interfaces, there will be links to those in the description and the top comment, so it makes it easy for you to go check those out. And I gotta say another quick thank you to The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners and VRCover for offering to sponsor this video and help us share this giveaway with everybody. The biggest news of this week, of course, Meta finally gave us some details on the Quest 3. They dropped a teaser trailer just before the MetaQuest Gaming Showcase yesterday, showing off all different features of it. It's going to be 40% thinner than the Quest 2. You can see its actual full design here, including its controllers. They're saying it has a high-res mixed reality pass-through that is actually going to have 10 times more pixels in pass-through than the Quest 2, and is even going to be better than the Quest Pro's pass-through. It's going to have a depth sensor on the headset to help map out your environment around you, which is interesting because the Quest Pro actually in prototype had a depth sensor and they scrapped it just before launching the Quest Pro. The thinner design is of course due to those new pancake lenses similar to what we've got in the Quest Pro. Much thinner lenses, smaller screens means not only can the screens be closer to your eyes, it means they can use even smaller screens and yet still give you a bigger field of view and a much clearer picture. Sometimes we get a little bit into the weeds here with these kind of details, but a lot of times headsets that are using pancake lenses can have the same resolution or even a slightly smaller resolution, but because they're using such a small screen with such high pixel density, it actually produces a much clearer image inside of the headset. Some of the details here that reports are starting to bring up are details about the Quest Pro because they seem to be the same lenses and aren't necessarily things that Meta announced about the Quest 3, but some of those details that the Quest Pro had over the Quest 2 with these same lenses was 25% better sharpness in the center, 50% better sharpness at the edges of the lenses, and of course a higher field of view like the Quest Pro had with that field of view. But with the Quest 3's design, we could actually bring those lenses closer in. There's going to be a full facial interface that covers the outside world from you, gives you the full immersion unlike the Quest Pro had, hopefully allowing for a much more immersive experience. A few outlets have gotten their hands on prototypes so far, and there is one thing that people are worrying about, and that's these new Touch Plus controllers. Now, to not get these mixed up, the Quest 2 has Touch, the Quest Pro has Touch Pro. Touch Plus is what they're nicknaming the Quest 3 controllers. In the designs here, you can see they look like a cross between Quest 2 and Quest Pro controllers, but the interesting thing, they don't have the cameras that the Quest Pro controllers have that track your environment around you. This means that if they are relying on infrared light like the Quest 2, they no longer have that ring that's always visible, so someone with larger hands could theoretically be covering the entire controller where it's using it to track. This means that so far in prototype testing, reporters have said that it's struggled to track their hand movements accurately. Meta said they're going to solve this accuracy issue with other tracking improvements they haven't used yet. Meta hasn't fully announced what exactly they're using to track these, but there has been theories that potentially are they using some sort of magnetic trackers, other sensors. There's other forms of tracking that don't necessarily need tracking rings like we've had on most controllers. It's just the simplest and typically very accurate for the low price it has to design them. They've mentioned the Quest Pro controllers will be an optional upgrade. You can continue to use those with the Quest 3 or get them if you want that perfect tracking. Although in some of the recent updates, the Quest Pro controllers have been struggling with losing connection. So that's something to keep in mind if they don't solve that by the time the Quest 3 launches. We at least know that the Quest 3 is going to have much better graphical performance due to a new Snapdragon chip that's going to go into all of them. And we know that the price is $499 for the lower storage model, 128 gigabytes. They said there will be a higher storage, but they haven't told us the price or the release date on any of these. All we know is to watch the Meta Connect event that takes place on September 27th. If I had to guess here, typically it seems like at that event they announce the new headset, they start the pre-sales, and a few weeks later they arrive in homes. So I would guess probably mid to late October for a launch on the Quest 3. It's a lot of details so far for how little information we've gotten, but we'll get the rest definitely by September 27th. The Quest 2 is getting another price drop. If you followed the Quest 2's price from launch, it's been kind of a roller coaster ride. The Quest 2 originally launched at $299, surprisingly surprising everyone who had just paid $400 for a Quest 1. Just last year, they said the Quest 2 was too low of a price, and they upped it in a surprise move to $400 for that lower storage model, which was now a 128 gig instead of a 64 gig as the original one was. Now, because the Quest 3 is dropping the price again, the 128 gigabyte version of the Quest 2 will now be $299.99, and the 256 gigabyte version is going to be down to $349.99, which is actually the lowest price we've ever seen on the 256, and basically the original price we saw on the 128. Now we know that the Quest 3 is coming this fall. I'd love to know from you in the comment section, what do you think? Do you think even at this lower price point of $299 for the Quest 2, will it sell now in anticipation of the Quest 3? Will it sell after Quest 3 launch, because it is a significant price lower as they continue to move those units out? Let me know. With the news the Quest 3 launched, the Quest 2 price drop, Meta is going to be sending out a software update for the Quest 2 and Quest Pro. They're both going to get a 26% boost in the CPU. Quest 2 is going to get a 19% GPU boost, that's graphics, and the Quest Pro will receive about 11% in that same boost on the graphical side. This of course meaning faster headsets, potentially better graphics developers can take advantage of. And we don't know the date this is launching yet, but I feel like it's an interesting choice this late in the game with the Quest 3 coming. We've known for a long time the Quest 2 actually had an underclocked processor because the cooling system in it wasn't sufficient. I am curious what you think out there. Do you think this is going to make a big difference, give us some better graphics here at the end of life potentially for some of these devices? Do you think the devices that haven't been well taken care of and have a lot of dust in them, we might see some potential issues when they try and crank these things up even further? With all this news going on, it's obviously a big year for Quest. Quest 3 is one of the most anticipated headsets of all time, but that $499 price point, I've already seen a lot of people in comments and forums talking about how they think that's too high. We've been spoiled for a long time with the Quest 2 was sold for such a little price that people seem to have gotten it in their heads that these headsets aren't as valuable as they are when it comes to the actual hardware that's going in them. You think about all of the hardware inside of a Quest 2 and it's like a pretty decent smartphone, plus it gives you all the capability of virtual reality. But when people see that side by side and they think a PS5 is now the price of a Quest 3, it's causing them to rethink. I'd love to know what you think in the comments, but I want to say thank you once again, all of you out there. We just hit 41,000 subscribers thanks to all of you yesterday, so thank you. And I will see you in another reality.